Right now at noon, how city officials are stepping in to help those affected by the Tyson closure.
Still got a couple of stray thunderstorms out there. We are watching increasing storm chances and our probabilities of severe weather. We'll take a look at that coming up.
Plus, a new partnership brings top-grade healthcare opportunities to PSU.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, the man suspected of killing his own grandson in McCune, Kansas Monday is now formally charged with second-degree murder. 70-year-old John Fox of McCune made his first court appearance yesterday to hear the charge. The shooting occurred at his McCune, Kansas home early Monday morning. Investigators believe John Fox shot and killed his grandson, 28-year-old Ian Fox of Lexington, Kentucky. Still no word on the circumstances surrounding the shooting or a possible motive. A Carthage man learns his fate for a fatal crash that happened just over 2 years ago. Kenton Cowgill gets a life sentence for second-degree murder. Authorities say in July of 2021, Cowgill was passed out in his car blocking a driveway. Joplin police say when they woke him, he sped away, leading them on a chase. That chase ended in crash involving 2 other vehicles at the intersection of 7th and Duquesne's Road. Police say Cowgill tried to flee from the crash scene and get rid of 94 grams of meth. And the driver of one of those vehicles, 66-year-old Robert McDermott of Joplin, later passed away from his injuries that he suffered in the crash. In addition to the life sentence, Cowgill also received 15 years for DWI, death of another, 7 years for resisting arrest, and another 15 years for trafficking drugs. Well, town officials in Knoll, Missouri are responding to the surprise news that came Monday. The news that the Tyson chicken plant will close in late October was sprung on city officials just an hour before the decision was made public. However, discussions and plans are already in motion to help community members in the coming months.
I have a meeting with Tyson again tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be able to learn a little bit more then. Also, John Newby, the president of the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce, contacted me this morning. They want to put on a job fair to try to help people relocate, stay in the area, possibly even stay in town, so all these are positives.
These plans are still in the discussion phase, but the mayor hopes to have much more information in the coming weeks. Chris Warner joins us now with a look at the forecast. Chris, what do you have for us?
Well, after our morning thunderstorms across the area, a couple of strong storms this morning, we have been left with just this little cell that's now pushing on off to the east with the batch of that activity. What we want to take a look at, though, remember what we talked about with the atmosphere trying to recover and leading to severe weather later this evening? Well, as you take a look at the satellite view, you can see we are getting some clearing. There's still some low clouds in some locations that this satellite image is not picking up, but we are starting to see that clearing taking place, and we're now down to really this as the only thunderstorm that we have left in our immediate area, moving right for Mount Vernon and pushing off toward the Springfield area. Not strong, not severe, but it is there, and we still have flooding concerns as well with some flash flood warnings and some flash flood watches because we've received a fair amount of rain. We definitely need this rain. What we do not need is what's expected this evening. So from this morning, no major changes to our severe weather outlook. We still have an enhanced tornado risk for mostly down into southwest Missouri, say around the Monette, McDonald County area, Lawrence County area, Berry County area. And we have that elevated risk coming right up to almost right along I-44, and then a low risk that's clipping parts of southeast Kansas, rest of southwest Missouri into northeastern Oklahoma. So Ottawa, Delaware counties as well. We have an enhanced hail risk, and these hatch marks indicating the possibility of very large hail. And our wind risk has been scaled back a bit, but we still have an elevated to enhanced wind risk as well. We're going to take a more in-depth look at our severe weather chances and what the next few days hold for us here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
A new partnership will bring top-grade healthcare opportunities to PSU. Pitt State students, faculty, and staff will now have expanded access to medical care, pharmacy, and mental health services on campus and in the region, thanks to a new partnership with Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas. Benefits for students will be similar at all CHC SEK locations, with student health fees helping to offset any copays or deductibles. They can also receive care at any of the CHC SEK's 15 locations across the region, including 2 in Pittsburgh.
So some of the things that they identified is nutrition support, dental support that they wish we had more of or available to them, pharmacy, different pharmaceutical supports, and many of our students indicated already a connection to CHC.
The clinic will extend hours from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday during the fall and spring semesters, and from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. weekdays in the summer. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces funding for a veterans cemetery in Fort Dodge. The Department of Veterans Affairs has $560,000 for the expansion of the cemetery. The funding will help pay for construction, landscaping, and irrigation at the expansion site. The Kansas Veterans Cemetery at Fort Dodge was established in 2002, and the cemetery currently serves more than 6,000 veterans and their eligible family members. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in the four-state region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon. The largest jackpot in the lottery's history has been won. We'll have the details on who the newest billionaire is. And later, we're making orzo stuffed peppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Stay tuned. Millions of Americans hope to become a billionaire off of the Mega Millions, and someone did. The Mega Millions lottery announced that one winning ticket for Tuesday's jackpot was sold at a Publix in Neptune Beach, Florida. The details behind the winning ticket have not been released yet, and the jackpot was worth an estimated $1.58 billion, the largest in the lottery's history. Whoever won could also decide to take the lump sum payment option, which is about $783 million before taxes. 7 other tickets sold in 6 states for Tuesday's drawings won millions of dollars as well. The winning numbers from Tuesday's drawing were 13, 19, 20, 32, 33, with a gold mega ball of 14. And overnight, Ohio voters rejected a measure that would make it harder to amend the state constitution. It's a move some people believe paves the way for a vote to pass abortion protections there later this year. But as CBS News' Jared Hill reports, the impact could go far beyond state lines.
The majority still rules in Ohio.
A major win for supporters of abortion rights in red-leaning Ohio.
Voters were not fooled by this unprecedented, dishonest attempt to silence our voice.
Last night, voters rejected a measure called Issue 1, maintaining the simple majority threshold to pass constitutional amendments. That's 50% of the vote plus 1, instead of the 60% supermajority state Republicans supported. It comes ahead of a vote in November, where Ohioans will decide if their state constitution should include protections for abortion access.
We don't want to see a really radical abortion amendment put in our state constitution.
But according to a recent poll, 58% of Ohioans are in favor. It'll be yet another test of America's temperature on the issue, over a year since the Supreme Court ruled abortion access isn't a federally protected right, rather a decision for the states.
It's really going to set the tone for the 2024 elections, when we have a presidential election as well as many other states wanting to address abortion rights.
Ohio once again at the heart of the political debate.
Responding to the outcome, President Biden said in a statement, quote, "This measure was a blatant attempt to weaken voters' voices and further erode the freedom of women to make their own health care decisions. Ohioans spoke loud and clear, and tonight, democracy won," end quote. Still to come on KOAM News at Noon, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
When life gives us lemons, we make lemonade. So what do we do if it gives us peppers? Stick around, I'll show you.
But first, we're tracking the possibility of severe thunderstorms across parts of the area as we head into the evening. We'll have the latest on that forecast coming up. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So we have got the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms across the area, and that's why we have now officially made today an alert day across the area, especially into parts of southwest Missouri, northeastern Oklahoma. Let's take a quick look. We're going to go through all of this step by step on exactly what's expected and what's happening and why. So here we are right now, Skywatch Storm Tracker. We've got this one lone thunderstorm that's over here pushing off to the east near Mount Vernon. That's it right now. But take a look. Do you see on the satellite image how we're starting to see through the cloud cover? We are starting to see that clearing. And remember what we talked about with the atmosphere being able to recover. We talked about it for the last 2 or 3 days, that everything this evening was highly contingent on whether or not the atmosphere would recover. We're at that point now. We're getting close enough that that certainly seems to be the case. And that's why our severe weather threat has kind of been ramped up a bit. So we've got this cell, Lawrence County, over by Mount Vernon, pushing on off to the east. All of this activity brought us a lot of much needed rain. Unfortunately, we've had flood warnings, flash flood warnings across parts of the area because we received a little too much rain in too little time, and the ground just was not prepped for that. But we're getting the last of this activity out of here, and like I said, you start to see how we've got some of that clearing taking place. So that's why we have this in our severe weather threats for this evening. So let's take a look. Since this morning, no significant changes to the tornado risk or to the hail risk, but some minor changes to the wind. So we'll talk about it. Take a look at how narrow these bands are, though, from low to elevated to enhanced. It's very narrow striping, and it's been, again, shifted a little further to the south and east, but anywhere from Pittsburgh, Lamar, southeast of Nevada, up by Stockton, back down into Craig and Nowata counties in northeast Oklahoma, and points southeast. That's where we're watching for the potential for an isolated tornado or two. Now, as you get down into Berry County, parts of McDonald County, and Benton County, we are watching a slightly more elevated potential for a tornado or two down in that area. That's not to say we'll see multiple tornadoes. It's just the possibility is a bit higher of seeing a tornado down there. Our hail threat covers a much wider area, and we are looking at that low, elevated, and enhanced risk for hail. And then you can see the hatch marks on this go as far northwest as Pittsburgh, and that is where we could see significantly large hail. We're talking 2 inches in diameter or bigger. And then our wind risk did get scaled back, but we still have that risk. We still have a slight enhanced risk. We still have some hatch marks on there. We're talking winds possibly 70, 80 miles an hour. So what does that look like down the road on the future track? So here's what we're thinking. By 4 o'clock, we're doing all right, but by 5, 6, back across northeastern Oklahoma, we start to get these storms developing. And the belief is that we're going to see supercells initially out of this activity, and they're going to push on off to the east. Here we are by 7, moving into parts of southwest Missouri. We got in Ottawa County, northeastern Oklahoma, and by about 8, 9 o'clock, the main batch of severe weather is out of here. We could see some lingering storms, and this is why we're still watching the severe weather threat down across, again, Berry County, McDonald County, and Benton County. We could still see a few through 10 o'clock, and then after that, it's gone. This is a relatively short-lived event, and it's really easily painted here by our rain chances. You see where they spike, and then that's it. It's done in 3 hours. But in that 3 hours, we have that potential for some pretty nasty severe weather. MoDOT, and this is the other thing I want to show you. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Skies are cloudy. Our camera here at the KOAM studios north of Crestline, we are cloudy. But then you take a look at the KDOT camera just up the road from us here, and look, we're getting that sunshine. We're starting to see those clearing skies. So that's why we're talking about the possibility of storms developing. The atmosphere is going to be able to recover sufficiently enough to see the severe storms tonight. So again, we do have that alert day for today. We're still looking at highs around 85 degrees out there. Not a bad Thursday. Once we get through all this, not a bad Thursday. Then the weekend, we start to heat up mid-90s. We got those pop-up storm chances. And as we head into next week, Monday and Tuesday look great. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, temperatures upper 90s, near 100. And more pop-up storm chances. But again, at least right now, our biggest focus is this evening's thunderstorms. And of course, Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy will be here right at the KOAM News at 5, right as this gets going, to have the latest on these storms.
All right, lots going on. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that detailed forecast. Well, stick around. We're making orzo stuffed peppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time now to check in with Howard and the Mr. Food Kitchen staff. Today he's making a test kitchen favorite. It's called orzo stuffed peppers. Take a look.
It's summer, and that means it's pepper season. Right now, there's such an abundance of them, we hardly know where to start. You can add them to your salads for a little color and crunch, or pair them with your favorite grilled sausage. But my favorite way to use them is to stuff them, like we're doing today. The good thing about this recipe is that we can use any variety of pepper, from the small and spicy jalapeno to the cubanellas and even mayo poblanos. Today we're being traditional by using colorful bell peppers. For our stuffing, we mix together some ground beef, Italian sausage, and that can be mild or hot, some tomato sauce, a few seasonings, and some uncooked orzo pasta. Yep, uncooked. Once it's all mixed, we stuff each pepper with some of the filling and into a soup pot they go. Then we'll top them off with a bit more tomato sauce and a little water, cover them, and let them simmer until they're tender. When the whole house smells amazing, they're done. Just spoon on the pan drippings and dig in. The recipe for our orzo stuffed peppers is online now, so you can enjoy a true one-pot dinner that's done in 3 simple steps. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for a simpler way, like one-pot cooking, for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. And now, here's a look at the 4th state market prices.
All right, quick reminder that we do have an alert day for today with the possibility of severe thunderstorms as we head into the evening. So after about 4 o'clock or so, we're going to start watching for these strong to severe thunderstorms with all hazards possible. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy will be here through the evening to track these storms for you. After that, they'll be out of here by about 8, 9 o'clock, 10 at the latest. We'll have a nice evening, or nice overnight rather, back to partly cloudy skies, mid-60s, a pretty good Thursday. Pop-up storms through the weekend and temperatures climbing back to the mid-90s, but again, we're really watching our thunderstorm activity for tonight.
Very good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, Dad, what do you have in store for us?
Well, a lot coming up at 5. For starters, a new study by the maker of the popular weight loss drug Wegovy finds medication could lower the risk of serious, even deadly heart problems. Plus, for the first time ever, Americans now hold more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. Higher prices, higher interest rates are weighing more heavily on that plastic, and experts say a lot of households are using credit cards as an extension of their income. And Newton County Sheriff's Office works with Neosho schools to host an active shooter exercise. All that at 5.
All right, wonderful. Sounds good. Well, that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us at KOAM News at Noon, and we'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.